Hello everyone and welcome to episode 18 of my Guild Wars 2 series. Today is a very special day. As you can currently see, we are on the character selection screen where we can currently select our Char Thief here that we have, Athos Shadowclaw, and then we also have our Human Guardian that we have played, Athos of Loamhurst. Today we are creating a brand new character, and when I created my Char character I kind of just skipped over the character creation process, but I've decided that I want to go through the entire process, though much quicker than when we did it with our first character. And I want to do the character creation process for every single character that we make in this Let's Play series. So our Char character is very unique in the way that we just skipped forward. But let's go ahead and double click to create a character here. And I have been hinting to this in the last few episodes, and I directly referenced it in the last episode. Today we are going to be journeying into the Norn story. So we've explored the Char and we've explored the human story, so now we are going to be learning more about the Norn, who are a race of towering hunters experienced a great defeat when the icy dragon drove them from their glacial homeland. Nevertheless, they won't let one lost battle, however punishing, dampen their enthusiasm for life and the hunt. They know that the only ultimate victor achieves legendary rewards. Go ahead and go next, and here I'm actually going to select a female Norn. So I've created male characters for the last two of my characters because I identify as a male. However, I do play as both male and female characters in this game because I enjoy the different voice acting and the different animations and stuff like that just like add on into the game. And this is a little bit of a hint for the future of our Let's Play series, but way down the road I have planned for a male Norn character. And for my plans for what I'm wanting to do with this character and the lore that I'm wanting to introduce into this character as we kind of tell like a character based story, I want to create a female Norn. So let's go ahead and select female here, and now we have our profession selection menu. So we have played as a thief and we have played as a guardian. So today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select ranger. So I want to play a Norn Ranger because it seems really fitting that Norns would be Rangers, because what we know about Norns is that they're very kind of spiritual and they're very naturistic, and Rangers kind of fit into that naturistic and like spiritual vibes very well. And one of the first characters I ever created was a Norn Ranger, which I unfortunately deleted that character. So this is us kind of going back to that a little bit of my own history. And also my girlfriend who plays this game as well, her main character is a Norn Ranger, so I am creating this character here in a little bit of a tribute to her. So let's go ahead and go to the next page, and we can go ahead and just quickly go through some of these different character customization options. So a very fun part about Norns is that they actually share a lot of character customization options with humans, and we can see some of these options are like very new, and they're also very similar or exactly the same as the human options as well. And another very special part about Norn is that they have tattoos. So if we just hide our armor here real quick, we can see that there are a bunch of different tattoo options that we can have. And I think I'll go ahead and go with this one. So that is everything as far as like how our character looks that we can customize for the most part. Let's go ahead and start looking at some of our profession and race specific options. So as a ranger, one of the core gameplay mechanics of being a ranger is that we have a pet by our side. So rangers are very similar to like hunters from World of Warcraft or wardens from Elder Scrolls Online. And depending on what race you pick for your ranger, you can have different options for your pet. So as a Norn, we have options to a bear, to a wolf, or to a snow leopard, and I'm going to go ahead and go with a wolf here. And then for this character I'm going to go ahead and pick the personality of charming over dignity or ferocity. And then we have our first story option here. So my most important quality is that I have the necessary strength to defeat ancient foes, where I keep my body strong so that I can defeat our ancient enemies and protect the Great Lodge. Cunning to protect the spirits. It is my duty to protect the spirits of the wild and requires cunning to keep them safe from the ice dragon. Or intuition to guard the mists. My intuition gives me the insight I need to guard the mists where the souls of our ancestors endure in glory. And I'm going to go ahead and go with the option here for strength to defeat our ancient foes. Next, we have our next option, which is at a recent celebratory moot held in Hoperack, I blacked out. Ayo, rowdy brawling. It's far too easy to let loose in the thrill of the moment. After I woke up, I couldn't remember what I'd done. I'm sure it was nothing too terrible. Or we could say we got in a fight, where I've had a rival ever since I was young. He's intelligent, treacherous, and cunning. I lost our last fight, but next time we meet I'll even the score. Or third, we could pick that we lost an heirloom. I inherited Romke's horn, a magical ancestral heirloom passed down through generations. After one too many drinks, however, I wagered it on a contest of strength and lost. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the option here of I lost an heirloom, where we lost Romke's horn, which was passed down through generations all the way down to us. Next, we can pick another Norn option that doesn't directly affect our story, but will have a little bit of an influence on it, where when I was still a kid, I had a vision. A spirit of the wild spoke to me and offered its guardianship. That spirit was either Bear, where Bear is the symbol of the most powerful among the spirits of the wild. She is a symbol of fortitude and self-reliance. She roared over me when I was a babe, and even since I've had Bear's courage in my heart. Or we could be blessed by Snow Leopard, where Snow Leopard is a stealthy, smiling spirit. She teaches us independence, strategy, and laughter in the face of danger. To this day, her wisdom guides me, and my memory of her visit comforts me on dark nights. Or we could choose Wolf, who has the cunning of the pack behind him. He imparts the virtues of loyalty, ferocity, and strength in numbers. When he came to me, he whispered of my heroic future and told me I would never be alone. Or we could pick Raven, where Raven, clever and wise, guides us with the truths that others fear. He bestows a far-seeing clarity of mind. In my vision, he spoke of riddles and opened my eyes to secrets that few others can see. And here, I'm going to go ahead and pick Wolf. Last, we can go ahead and pick what we want our character name to be. And as always, I'm going to go ahead and call myself Athos. And for my surname, I'm going to go ahead and go with a little bit of a popular option for naming Norns. And I'm going to call myself Romke's daughter. So Romke is like our great-great-great-great-grandfather, or however many generations ago, probably only like 2 or 3 greats. And he was the person who had his horn that got passed down to us, and now we lost it in a brawl. So he is our ancestor, and we are descendant from him. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and create my character, and we can go ahead and head into the world of Teria and explore the Norn.
I am Norn, hunter of the wild, born of the free and rugged Shiver Peak Mountains. In the far north, my people fought our greatest enemy, Jormag, a dragon of frost and snow. The dragon broke our pride, but it did not break our spirit. In our last hour, we heard the voices of 4 of the spirits of the wild: Bear, Raven, Snow Leopard, Wolf. They called us south, away from certain annihilation. We founded the Great Lodge of Holbreck and claimed new hunting grounds. Some say we should not fight Jormag. I say the greatest risk is to wager nothing at all. One day, a hero will lead us home, and we will break the dragon's icy grip. I was born in the fire of combat. My spirit has been forged and tempered like steel. Like my ancestors before me, I seek glory. One day, I will take my place among the heroes of the Norn. My strength is a gift from the spirits of the wild. With it, I can hold back the tide. I can move mountains. I can overcome anything that stands in my way. I am still untested, but already my deeds have earned me friendship and great respect. Each year, a great hunt is called in Holbreck. Only the best among us are invited to participate. I shall use my might to collect trophies that prove my worth, then drink and boast of my victories. I accept this challenge. I relish it. Come danger, come adventure. In the lodges and halls of my people, my strength will make me immortal. This is my story.
So this is our story as we load into the Great Hunt. And as we have loaded in, we are now in the beginning areas of the Norn character.
Over here. You don't want to miss a chance for glory, do you?
Let's go ahead and chat with Thora here.
Hail, hero! Are you here to take part in this year's Great Hunt?
Of course I am. Just tell me what needs to be done and stand clear.
Hunt down the wildest animals you can find and take trophies from your kills. Present only the finest to Ido the Tanner to prove your worth. Whoever has the best trophy and whose bravery is the greatest will be invited to join the Great Hunt. Newt Whitebear has said this season's event will be one of the most dangerous, so be ready. I've even heard the renowned Skaald might attend.
I look forward to impressing them both, after I've earned my place in the hunt.
So we are going to go ahead and we're going to go out into the wilds here and we're going to hunt and collect a trophy so we can find our way into the Great Hunt. So as we learn a little bit more about Norns, we are going to be learning quite a bit of different things, but starting right off the bat, we are learning that Norns are really into kind of hunting and that connection to like nature, and that's interconnected to that throw of like combat and strength and stuff like that. So hunting is a very important part of like Norn culture, and great hunts are very important hunts. Let's go ahead and shoot this owl griffin sire here so we can go ahead and collect this trophy. Where great hunts are some of the most prestigious hunts that individuals can participate in, and we have to earn our way into the Great Hunt to be able to participate in this one. This Great Hunt is being hosted by Newt Whitebear, who is one of the most important figures of the Norn society. So when we look at Norn society, there isn't a big overruling like government or party or whatever that's in charge of like controlling all the Norn. Norn are very free-spirited and they live with like families and friends, and they kind of just like group up together in certain areas, but they aren't necessarily like bound to like a very specific area.
Hail, Hunter! I'm the local leather worker. Ido's the name. Show me your kills, and I'll make them into trophies you'll be proud to show at the moot. Pricking, singing, and boasting. I love a good old-fashioned moot. Others save their parties for holidays, but I say every day alive's worth celebrating. Hey, Newt, look at this impressive trophy. Worthy of the Great Hunt, I'd say.
Indeed. You are skilled enough to defeat your prey, and wise enough to revere their spirits. You are worthy to join in this year's Great Hunt. By my own hand, I've brought the mighty worm Isormir. He waits above in the plateau for one such as you to challenge him. The great Skaald watches over him now, waiting for the hunt to commence. When it is time, you and the others will go to the high ground over the valley. There you will face Isormir and claim victory if you can.
I can and I will. This is where my legend begins.
So we see there as well, there is a great moot going on as well. So moots are basically kind of like parties that Norn come together and they basically just celebrate life and living and all that stuff. There's a lot of like cheering, a lot of alcohol and stuff like that going on. Let's go ahead and run up this mountain here. And great moots are kind of like how great hunts are to hunts.
Grant you swiftness and grace.
May Raven bless you with the vision to see and the wisdom to understand.
I'm gonna go ahead and hurry up here because I think the fight is
Walk
underway.
with the pack. In the eyes of Wolf, we are all brothers and sisters.
Battle with the strength of bear.
So here we have some ice worm hatchlings that we can go ahead and shoot down and fight. So as I was saying, the Norn are not very bound to like very specific areas. We see here that a lot of Norn have kind of grouped up. And they live together in this area of the world. When we originally met Norn in Guild Wars 1, they came from way further north up the Shiver Peaks than where we are currently at in Guild Wars 2. And they were forced down here from Jormag, who's one of the Elder Dragons, and now they kind of make home here in this area of the Shiver Peaks. But we can go ahead and fight Isormir here.
At him! Don't let Garm have all the fun.
As a ranger, we have access to a longbow that we are using right now that we can go ahead and just shoot this worm from range. Isormir is almost dead, and once we complete this challenge here, we can go ahead and leave this mountaintop and we can go back down into the valley and celebrate our victory.
Slayer of Isormir. Now return to the Snow Lord's Gate as no mere hunter, but a champion.
What a hunt! I heard about your victory. Very impressive.
Thank you. It was a hard-fought battle, and I'm proud of my part in it.
An excellent beginning to your legend, friend. You know, a lot of folks around here have problems that need solving. A slayer like you could be a big help. Putting your skills to work sharpens them, and helping others wouldn't hurt your reputation either. Think of the glory.
I will seek out these problems and solve them. Then we will see how my legend grows.
So now that we have completed the Great Hunt, we can go ahead and head out into the open road and we can start working on some tasks. Here we have a scout where we can see the area around us.
This valley is a sacred but dangerous place. Visit the shrines to the spirits of the wild. You'll be tested by both our enemies and the spirits themselves. And look out for extraordinary chances to prove your courage. You honor us all by acting without being called.
So let's go ahead and head out into the valley here and we can begin honoring the spirits as well as helping anyone that needs help around here. So to recap, what we have learned about Norns so far is that Norns are very spiritualistic and nature-based individuals where they worship spirits of the wild, which we're going to learn a lot more about in the coming episodes. And they're also very attuned to nature, where things like hunting and respecting spirits and respecting wildlife and keeping the environment clean and safe are basically generally types of things that the Norn care about and are passionate about and are important to Norn culture. Hunting is an incredibly important part of Norn culture because it brings together that idea of like nature as well as an idea of strength, where strength is another really important part of Norn culture, where some would say Norn are the strongest of the 5 races that we can play as, maybe a little bit in contention with the Char, but probably definitely stronger than Char. And here we have a juvenile raven that I just tamed on accident by pressing F on it. We can go ahead and not equip this now, but as a ranger we can learn and tame many different animals that are around in the world, and we'll learn a little bit more about that in like just a few levels once we unlock it officially. We have our juvenile alpine wolf here running around with us that we can also see. Partying is also a very important part of Norn culture, where there are moots and great moots, and just like any sort of like party that Norn can put together, where stuff like drinking and celebrating is incredibly important. So the spirits of the wild are very important figures in Norn society, and they're like very powerful kind of creatures that exist that are aspects of different species of creatures that we see around the world. So there are wolves and ravens and snow leopards and bears, as well as many other creatures that live around the world, and each of those species have a great spirit. And we'll learn more exactly about what that means to be like a spirit, but basically they are valued greatly by Norn, and probably one of the most central parts of Norn culture is honoring the spirits. And we were blessed by the wolf spirit, which will be something we also learn more about in the future. So in this valley, there are a ton of shrines to the main spirits of the wild. So the 4 main ones that we care a lot about at the start of the story here are snow leopard, wolf, bear, and raven. And those are the 4 spirits that basically guided the Norn south to this new area of the world, away from their homeland, away from Jormag, the elder dragon that was driving them south. And the Norn basically built up Holbrak, which is a huge city just over the mountains there. We can see a very cool shot of statues of the 4 main spirits of the wild. But while we really focus on those 4 spirits, there are a ton more that we will be learning about, such as Minotaur, Otter, Owl, and many, many more. And as far as this task goes, I think I only have to do one more thing in order to complete it. Let's go ahead and place the egg, and we did it. And we leveled up to level 4. Let's go ahead and just gather through some of our little pop-ups down here. We logged in for an 18th day. Welcome to episode 18. And then we can go ahead and get our level 2 level up reward as well, and then level 3 level up reward where we get a leather bag, and then level 4 level up reward. And let's go ahead and jump down here and we can take a look at this vista here. So a good shot of the starting area here of the Norn, and let's go ahead and just take a moment. I did not want to zoom in my minimap, but zoom in here and we can get a nice shot of the entrance to Holbrak here, which we will be exploring in a couple of episodes. We can go ahead and head further into the valley and we can go ahead and complete some more tasks here. I absolutely love the starting areas for every single race because I remember spending a ton of time in them when I first started playing Guild Wars 2, and the Norn are no exception. However, Norns and humans and their starting area hold a little bit of an extra special place in my heart because when I was watching footage of Guild Wars 2 before Guild Wars 2 released, these were the two main areas that I remember watching through. Let's go ahead and fight this Eagle Griffin here real quick that I think attacked us. So these areas just hold a little bit of an extra special place in my heart. And then I see right over here we have some diving goggles. Let's go ahead and put these goggles on and we can jump into the water near the bear shrine here. So we were exploring the Raven Shrine earlier and we were just honoring the Raven Spirit of the Wild, who is a very kind of like inquisitive, knowledge-based, wisdom-based spirit, whereas Bear Spirit here is more of a strength-based spirit and more kind of combative. But we can go ahead and honor the spirit as we honored Raven Spirit as well. Here we see a Son of Swanir tag, and the Sons of Swanir are an enemy faction. So each race in the game kind of has a domestic faction that are basically made up of the same people of the race, but they're enemies. So we have the Flame Legion, who are basically Char, but they're enemies to the rest of the Char Legions. And then humans have bandits that are humans that basically kind of live in the hills and basically attack and rob from civilians. The Norn have the Sons of Swanir, who, instead of honoring the normal spirits of the wild that most Norns honor, they honor the dragon Jormag, the dragon that pushed all of the Norns south from the ancestral homeland, killing many of Norn and corrupting many others. And the Sons of Swanir have decided to honor the dragon spirit instead of honoring a bear spirit, like we could do right there. The Sons of Swanir are named after Svanir, who is a very important person from Guild Wars 1 and a very important individual in the Norn history, where his sister is also an incredibly important individual. So during the Guild Wars 1 story, when we were first introduced to Norn, the main Norn that we interacted with was Jorah, and her brother was Svanir, and Svanir was corrupted by the Elder Dragon Jormag through one of Jormag's lieutenants, Drakkar. And Drakkar basically drove Svanir mad and corrupted him, and the heroes in Guild Wars 1 alongside Jorah had to put him down. So Jorah is very much celebrated by Norn, whereas Svanir are very much celebrated by the Sons of Svanir, where the Sons of Svanir believe Jormag is the true, great spirit, and that all Norn should basically succumb to his strength. Here we have a Sons of Svanir that we can fight, and because it is only level 2, it went down very, very quickly. And we're also very close to finishing this task and probably leveling up all the way to level 5.
I'm greatness getting greater.
So we leveled up and we can go ahead and grab our rewards and we can go explore the next area. So here we have Growlin Fjord, and I just want to take a moment to run up here really quickly, and I just want to show how beautiful this entire area is. It is a very green valley that is completely surrounded by high snowy peaks, and it is a very cool location in the Shivery Peak Mountains because this is one of the few areas that has a lot of green except for border areas to other zones and regions. So we see in some areas of the Shivery Peak Mountains it starts blending into Kryda, which is very green of course, but as far as the main Shivery Peak Mountain goes, this is a very peaceful and calm valley where there's not a lot of snow or mountains that we have to deal with. Here we can fight Bear Shaman Marga, who transformed into the bear. So we see with the 4 main spirits of the wild that Norn have the opportunities to invoke their strength, and they can transform into a bear, or a wolf, or a snow leopard, or a raven, and they can fight. And as we level up and as we unlock our elite skill, we can do the same thing where we can invoke one of those strengths.
Bear approves of you. I can feel her little tail wagging in my heart.
That was our first hero challenge on this character. Let's go ahead and head back out here, but I want to take a look once we get back up to water. But I want to take a quick look at our pet management menu that we have unlocked now. So here we have a very special menu that only rangers have access to, where we can take a look at our pets. We have both land and underwater pets that we can have unlocked. And currently we are on land and we have a wolf and a raven. And we can actually swap between those pets whenever we want, except in like very certain circumstances. And each pet that we unlock will actually have different abilities and different stats, and they will also level up as we level up. So I just came back here to the bear shrine really quickly to see if there were any juvenile bears, but I don't see any. So if we click right here, we can see all of the different pets available in the game that we can actually tame. We can go around the world to a bunch of different locations and we can find all these different animals, except for a couple which are exclusive to Guild Wars 1 players. We can eventually tame every single one of these animals. Currently, we only have a wolf and a raven. Being a Norn Ranger is really cool because the starting area has a lot more juvenile animals around compared to other starting areas. So we should be able to find at least 4 different animals around this area that we will be able to tame compared to like maybe only a couple in other starting areas. So we are currently in a Graal cave right now, and we explored the Graal a little bit when we were playing as our Char Thief. Graal are a race of creatures that are going to be very prominent in the Shiver Peak Mountains, and I kind of consider the Shiver Peaks to be like the primary region where Graal are located, even though you can find them in other areas as well. But as we play through as a Norn character, we are going to be experiencing a bunch of different enemy factions that are very unique to the Shiver Peaks, and of course some that are familiar to us from our other characters that we have played through. The Graal being one of them, the Sons of Svanir being one of them, the Dredge we are going to soon see is another one of them, and many more of course. And as we defeat the Graal and defeat some of these demonic effigies that the Graal are worshipping, we can finish this task and move on to the next area. And with completing that task, we also leveled up to level 6, and we can now select a new weapon. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a greatsword here. And I will go ahead and explore a little bit about what we can do as a ranger. We can grab this waypoint real quick first, and there's also a point of interest over here that we can go ahead and grab really quickly as well. Just around the corner here, we are in a cave with ice elementals. And then right over here, we can see the wolf shrine. So we are blessed by the spirit of wolf, so this is a very important shrine for us to be at. So to continue on with discussing ranger, we start off with a longbow here, and the longbow is one of the longest range weapons in the game, and as a ranger it's even longer range compared to other classes. So if you take a look at our auto attack ability here, its range is 1500 units. Typically, for most professions, we see that the longest range that they can have is 1200, and there are very few exceptions to that maximum range limit. Here we can see that one of them is the Ranger Longbow, where we can go to 1500 range away and shoot them. So our auto attack is pretty basic, but it deals more damage the further away we are. So it's good for us to kind of be away from the fight. Maybe our pet can kind of tank a little bit, and we can go ahead and just pelt arrows into our enemies, and we can deal extra damage just by being further away. Of course, we have other abilities here. So we have Rapid Fire, which is one of the best skills in the game in my opinion, and it just deals a ton of damage. We also have Hunter's Shot here, which is kind of an interesting skill. It's not really an offensive skill. It gives us stealth, and it gives our pet swiftness. It doesn't give us swiftness, it gives the pet swiftness. But it's kind of nice if you have to like break out of a fight. When we are in PvE, it doesn't really do too much for us. It's kind of nice to get maybe a little bit of extra damage if we're far away, because it'll send our pet like flying in, but for the most part it's not too important. You see it more used in PvE. And then here we also have our fourth ability, Point Blank Shot, that we can use to knock any enemy back, and it deals a ton of damage as well as knocks them super far away. And then once we level up to level 8, we can unlock our fifth ability, which is really fun. This fourth ability here is always kind of fun because we see a lot of brand new rangers will use this ability in situations that maybe they probably shouldn't be doing it. So we can see here that it just knocks them super far away. So for example, if an enemy is in a like combo field or like some sort of fire field, or maybe we grouped a ton of enemies up together, or maybe someone is just dealing a ton of melee damage to that enemy, using the point blank shot isn't the best in the situation, because you could potentially knock them out of the fire field and then they're dealing less damage. Or maybe we grouped enemies up and you knock one out, so then that enemy is not getting cleaved down with all the other enemies. or maybe you just knock it out if someone's attacking the enemy and then they have to move over to wherever you position the new enemy to. So with different knockback abilities such as this ranger one here, it's very important to kind of understand the situation that you are in. It is good against any enemy that has a knockback bar. It could be good if you're like fighting one-on-one and you need to kind of get some extra space, because you can really combo this with your auto attack ability here, where you can knock the enemy back and then you're even further away from them, so you'll deal even more damage. Or it could also be good to group enemies up if you're able to position yourself into an advantageous location to be able to push one enemy onto another. Like with this Son of Svanir here, we can kind of push this one back, and now they are closer together for the most part. But of course, every single profession has multiple different weapons we can use, and we unlock weapon swapping at level 10, but I'll go ahead and just equip the greatsword there, and you can kind of take a look at what the greatsword does as well. So very basic, auto attack. This is an auto attack chain, so as you do one attack, it'll unlock a new attack, and it'll do even more. And the greatsword is also a very powerful weapon, and we will probably be using it quite a bit. The greatsword is also really fun. Here we have an ability called Maul, which is an ability that I love in PvP, and it basically kind of channels the force of a bear and deals a ton of damage to any enemy we hit with it. Here we have Swoop, where we can run at our foe, hitting them and nearby foes, and it is a 1000 range leap, so we can be super far away from this enemy here. We can press 3 and we can go flying into our enemies, and then we can use Maul on them to deal a ton of damage. A very fun thing here is this is kind of like a raven ability, and this is kind of like a bear ability for like the raven spirit and the bear spirit of the Norns, where any ranger of any race can use this weapon, but it's kind of fitting to a Norn. Here we have counter attacks, so we'll block any incoming attacks, and if we get attacked and we block that attack, we then unlock counter attack kick, where it is a knockback that we can use. And I kind of did this in a very poor situation, but next time when it's off cooldown, we'll take a look at that. But here we also have Health Bash, which we can use to stun any of our enemies and also deal some damage to them, and it also charges us towards them a little bit, which is fun. Let's go ahead and try to get this Son of Svanir to attack us, and he did, and then I knocked him back there with the sword. I'll go ahead and put my longbow back on, and I think we actually got a new longbow, so let's go ahead and equip that as well, and we can equip some of the new items we got, and we leveled up so we can unlock our underwater stuff, and then we got a little bit of extra money there as well. Here we can enter into a dredge mine that is in the valley, and this is kind of a special location because this area used to have a task back when Guild Wars 2 originally released in 2012, but they actually removed the task here because the starting area had a lot of stuff going on, so they kind of rebalanced where some of the tasks were, where they added a new one that's like right outside of the starting zone and removed one here to kind of spread it out a little bit. So all this area is it has a vista, and it also has some map art, and there are some events that go on here as well. And you can actually exit the dredge mines here through a different entrance. So we came in through like the southeastern one, and I believe we can exit here through this northern entrance here, through the rocks and back out into the valley, and we're going to drop right next to our final task, which of course is the final shrine that we have not been to yet, which is the Snow Leopard Shrine. And this is a very cute task, so let's go ahead and talk to the shaman here, and we can actually transform into a snow leopard, and this will allow us to do many things. My favorite of which is we can come over to these snow leopard cubs here, and we can interact with them to play with them, and we can just play with these cubs, and the cubs will roll on their back and they'll like claw into the air, and it's like very cute and very fun. And we can do it for all these cubs here. Those ones over there, I think another player did. But of course, as a snow leopard, we can do a few other things as well. So we can go over here to a suspicious bush, we can snarl at it, and then we can hunt this rabbit down. So the rabbit, very easy to fight, we just clawed it once. Let's come over to another bush, see what comes out. And a white moa, this will be a little bit more challenging. Let's go ahead and come here, and then it attacked us, so this would be nice for us, and we defeated it. And got an egg from it, which is very nice. But turning into a snow leopard is fun because it allows us to have new abilities on our bar that we're not used to. And this task is a little annoying because of that, because we kind of lose access to our normal abilities, and it kind of forces us to play in a way that we don't normally do. So it's annoying in the aspect that a lot of people don't enjoy that. But for me personally, I kind of enjoy the little bit of a breath of fresh air. And with completing this task, we will have completed every single task in the starting area here. We've leveled up all the way to level 9. It's ridiculous. But of course, there is one objective left in the starting area that we can go get, and it is where we went at the very start of the episode where we fought Isormir. So we can come back to Snowlord's Gate and we can make our way up the mountain again here where the doors are open. If we were a little bit later or a little bit earlier in the story mission, the doors would have been closed and we would have had to wait for the next hunt, technically, mechanics wise, as far as the MMO goes. But we can make our way all the way up here and we can see Isormir has fallen here, and we can commune with its body to gain a hero point. And we are now just a little bit stronger. And I'm going to go ahead and waypoint back to Horncall waypoint here, and I'm going to go ahead and call this episode good here. We completed the entire starting experience of the Norn race, where we played through the start of the story and we completed all of the objectives here in the starting area. And next episode we will head out of the valley here and into Wayfarer Foothills, where we will deal with new challenges. You can see here we are right next to the Black Citadel and where the charge started, but of course there are a ton of mountains blocking our way. I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode as I played through it. I very much enjoyed playing through it, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, drink your water, check your posture, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time in the world of Terria, where we play as a Norn. Goodbye.
I'm always achieving great.